Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Staying Sweet, the podcast. This week's episode is completely off the cuff. I wanted to talk about my recent event that I hosted and showcased on my own for the very first time, something that I've been wanting to do for ages and ages. I've actually had the invite idea in my Canva drafts for over a year, and it's something that I've just put off, not felt like I was at the right stage in my career, not sure if anyone would show up, and yeah, just didn't really have the means to put something together. But it's when you come into a world and you offer yourself and you open up to others and you share your ideas and inspirations with other people that these ideas can come to life. And it's honestly crazy, honestly baffling how you can have an idea and it just takes talking to one person to make it happen and just push you out of your comfort zone. And that is exactly what happened with me. My wonderful friend India, who has featured previously on the podcast, she operates Trendy Social, and we have a really great relationship in terms of like creative ideas, bouncing off each other. We are both very independent creatives, and we have a vision for ourselves, and we have so much honestly going on in our heads. It's wild. But when we speak on the phone or we catch up, it is just like magic happens. And I mentioned to her that I had this idea for an event for literally over a year, and she said, "Do you know what, Alice, just do it. Make it happen. You do not need it to be perfect for it to be successful." And honestly, I've learned so much in hosting that event this week, and I thought I could impart some knowledge with you today. So, yeah, it was a collaboration in conjunction with the podcast Staying Sweet, of course, my personal brand, the fact that I shoot photography and have a love for personal brand photography, and I operated it out of a studio space, which India actually introduced me to, House of Hutch in Battersea, and it was honestly the best combination of thinking on the spot, making it happen, hustling in the moment, and just making something come together at the last minute. And my goodness, did it. There were a few things that I did and was able to curate a little bit, and I had a vision for, and they kind of came to life. But there were also some things and some learning curves and some things that, now that I've done one event, I can definitely take on board for future things. So I thought I would talk about the importance and the benefit of in real life events, what it does to your community, what it does for not only your social media channels, but just it honestly does so much. It's something that, of course, you share in the moment with the people that you've invited, but it goes far beyond that. It goes beyond what they then create and share and showcase with their audiences, and the potential reach that is possible with just bringing a community of like-minded people together and giving them, a little bit of food and drink and sending them on their way and just inviting in inspiration. And that's what's happened this past week. And honestly, it is almost like something has come and just declogged the pipes for me and just like wiped the slate clean and just given me a clear vision, because for the longest time I have had such a goal brain fog and just no real understanding myself as to what I was capable of, how I could make something happen, and whether it would even be a success for myself. And I'm one of the first people to admit that I have been my harshest critic. And particularly recently, in the last couple of months, I've found myself being so cruel to myself, really, really negative, and just in a headspace of why me, and almost not why me, but almost like a what can I do that's different? What can I do that can shift and be needle moving in the career space and in the personal branding space and event space? And it's not until you get past all of that and you clear your path for yourself and you just step out your comfort zone and do it, that you realize your capabilities and you realize what is possible. So let's firstly talk about the event, how I came up with the idea. I obviously mentioned that I created the event over a year ago, and I always wanted to integrate and showcase something in a studio setting because it's something that I absolutely love doing myself. I love working with clients in a studio space and creating beautiful headshots, beautiful imagery that they can then use and feel confident about, happy about, change their LinkedIn profile pictures, change their Instagram profile pictures. It's honestly my favorite thing in the entire world. And to be able to embed that within an event space was just perfect. I had my wonderful friend Ashley, also in attendance at the event, and she's someone that I featured previously on the podcast. Actually, one of the episodes way back when I wasn't recording with video, but we literally sat in a River Island changing room and recorded an episode of the podcast. Like, we made it happen. We took messy action, and she's just been a wonderful person in the community and in the space of just creatives. And yeah, she came along to the event, and I had her do career scopes for my wonderful guests in attendance. So they were able to sit down, break down, what is going on astrologically in their chart for their careers, guidance, and just give them a bit of inspiration and open their eyes to the world of possibilities within astrology. And she was just absolutely fantastic. Left her to it. She had all my guests kind of filtering in for a reading, and that was a really fun part of the event, and just something that I knew I wanted for the longest time. We've had it in the pipeline. I mentioned it to her like over a year ago. This would be really cool for an event, and it was just so nice to finally bring it all together and curate something really special. So that was fantastic. I then had this vision of having like drinks and breakfast items, because one of my favorite types of events to go to and attend are breakfast events. I actually think they're the best ones. They are so much fun, albeit having to get up super early to get to them. That can be a mission sometimes, but they are so cool, and the vibes are just always immaculate. And it's just so nice to know that you've got the rest of the day to crack on with all your things. You get inspired and you get excited about, the event that you attend, and then you go about your day. It's just the best. And I really wanted to do something in the sort of breakfast event remit. I thought it was just super cool. And I got some ideas and some inspiration, obviously, from like previous events that I have seen in the creative space. I had, it seems really silly, but it was just like small details that I wanted to factor in. I really wanted to brand my own cupcakes or cookies or something, so I was able to do that. I actually really randomly found a cake shop brand. I can link it below, and I was able to custom create my own images to kind of stick on paper wafers. So inexpensive, literally $3.99 for me to do that and stick on some plain Waitrose, albeit delicious, Waitrose cupcakes. I was just able to kind of brand something in a very inexpensive way, curate it and make it look much more put together than it actually was, and it was fantastic. So yeah, there were things like that I was able to do. I actually made the wafer images on Canva, exported them as PNG, and then created my own cake wafers. Like, super cool. So there was that. And I also had an event which I recently attended, which was for Powerhouse in Battersea. And it was for the opening of the residential block Powerhouse in Battersea. And when I went to that event, I was so inspired by the breakfast that we had. We had Voss water bottles, and I don't know what it was. It just really inspired me and made me think, do you know what? I really want that at my event. I want to curate something that people think is, one, visually aesthetic and vibey, but also give that allure of extra luxe, attention to detail, thinking, about the person attending the event. What would they want to consume from me? And I know it's so simple and it's literally just water bottles, but I wanted to offer my event guests that feeling of just like extra luxe, extra vibes, and I feel like it really came together. Now, in terms of the running of the event, I will say it was very, very scatty on my end. I unfortunately got caught in like major traffic and attended my event late myself. So there are lessons to be learned in that. I really think that, some things you just have to roll with the punches. I couldn't control the traffic. I couldn't control not being able to find somewhere to park. And in the moment, I was honestly devastated with myself, because I was firstly in sweats, secondly, didn't have my makeup on, thirdly, didn't have my hair done. So when it came to setting up the event, I had 5 minutes to get changed, literally 2 minutes to put my makeup on, and no minutes to do my hair. So it is what it is. I personally didn't feel 100% my confident self, but I knew I had to switch it on, roll with the punches, enjoy the vibes, and just take it as it comes. And genuinely, that was the biggest learning curve for me. And it just made me realize that like things don't have to be perfect for them to be successful. And truly, I think jumping out of your comfort zone, deciding to host something in real life, creating that community setting and engaging people in a new and different environment genuinely hit factory reset for me. And do you know what? When I left the event, I closed down the event after it had finished. I felt quite disappointed in myself, and I'm gutted that that was my initial reaction, but that was genuinely the perfectionist in me, like self-criticizing. And I just drove home in the car and I thought, do you know what? Maybe that wasn't as successful as I would have hoped. And I got home, I had a little cry, and I don't know what it was. I just took the evening off. I actually slept so much because I was just so drained and like exhausted from beating myself up basically, and just being so in a negative headspace unnecessarily, when in actual fact the next day when I woke up and I looked at my social media and I looked at what people had curated, and I looked at what was shared and posted on socials and what I was able to post on socials, I realized, Alice, this was successful. Do you not even see it? Do you not even see it? It's crazy how you can be so blinkered and just completely unaware of your own success in the moment, and it literally takes a minute sometimes to digest what's happened and cancel out, you know, the negative thoughts and the negative thinking around what you hoped it would be or what you intended it to be, and actually just take it for what it is and allow yourself to grow and allow yourself to learn basically. Like, I really truly feel like it was way more successful than my brain initially thought it was. And the leads I've had in the last few days from people wanting to firstly attend events in the future with me, which is fantastic, but also work with me as well. Like, I knew there was a reason I needed to step out of my comfort zone and do that this year. And I just wanted to share this episode today as a mini like brain dump, as a mini decompress from the event this week. You know, sometimes things don't go to plan, or they don't actualize in the way that you'd hoped, or they don't get documented in the way that you'd hoped, but they are still so successful. And it's about nurturing that feeling of, okay, what's next? What's next for me, or what has it led for me? I just wanted to share this episode today really candidly to just give you an insight into how I was feeling, a little decompress from the event, and just to basically just let you know that anything is possible, and sometimes doing something and it not being perfect is the way that it needs to go, and actually it's just a stepping stone to better events, better organization, and improvements and growth. So yeah, I really hope this episode has been beneficial. It's a quick one, it's a real just brain dump for me as to what happened this week, and just an insight into what's been going on. I really want to host more events, and I've got some ideas in the pipeline, so stay tuned for that. If you are interested, or you want to be involved, or you're a brand that thinks they might align well with my audience, my 100% female audience over on the podcast, then you can reach out to me via Instagram DM. Just follow me at Staying Sweet Podcast over on the podcast page, and at alicelucybradley on my personal. I really hope this episode has just given you just a quick insight into what's going on, and given you a bit of a pep talk this week. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I really hope that we can grow and progress and just evolve the podcast, the community space, and yeah, the events in real life. I feel like there's so much to learn in this space and this setting, and the only way to learn is to just go out and do it. So that is my advice for you this week. If there is something that you are putting off because you feel like you're not ready or you're not prepared, go and do it anyway. I have full faith in you. You've absolutely got this. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next week. Stay sweet.